Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. It's wonderful to see all these faces. I'm Debbie Duncan. I am the Director of Education Services for the New Jersey Center for Nonprofits. We help all of New Jersey nonprofits, but we help a lot of folks here, including people here in the South. And I live in Atlantic County myself, and I have worked in Salem, Cumberland, and Camden. So I've covered most of the South. um, I'm here to talk a little bit about the summit that we had 2 years ago, hard to believe, but also about each mini summit that we had in each of the counties. And I just want to thank all the people who helped make those possible. We had people take leadership in each county and to make those gatherings possible. And the response of everybody was phenomenal. It's so thrilling and inspiring to see everybody coming together and lots of times saying, "Oh, I didn't know this organization existed. Oh, I didn't know you were here." That's part of what we're doing here, is we want to bring people together because it's together that we're going to make things happen. We're all sitting in our offices or cubicles or our home office, and we feel like you're alone, like you're Sisyphus pushing that rock up the hill and it slides back most part of the way. So what we're trying to do here, what the Nonprofit Development Center of Southern New Jersey has initiated, is let's start working together to address the issues that are keeping us from doing what we need to do, from being more effective, for reaching the people that we need to reach that we're missing. That's a lot of what this is all about. Now, during the summit, there was a survey that was done around the summit by Angie McGuire of Rutgers. She could not be here today, as it turned out. I just found out. So I'm not going to be able to share all of that, information. But we did a preliminary survey, and then we took feedback that we got. Okay, what challenges are you facing? And a little bit of brainstorming of, okay, what could we do about that? How could we change the barriers and address the problems that confront us? But we did at each summit. We had some of those same discussions. And what we're going to do today is, and this is the really important part, is we're going to get together. We're going to sit around tables. We're going to pick a topic, one of the topics that have been identified. And Mike sent out a list and asked people to do some ranked choice voting. And if you're not familiar with ranked choice voting, I suggest you look into it. I went to a demonstration that was very, very interesting. So there were, I don't know, maybe about 20 topics that sort of came to the fore. And of those, the topics that got the most interest just now from the survey that Michael did, one was the first one. Anybody want to guess? Oh, housing, correct. Housing and homelessness, okay? Totally beat out the others. The second one, where's Fred? Food. You're way in the back, Fred, okay? And the third one was education. And those three were way up above the others. After that, the second tier was mental health and substance abuse, health, and then social justice. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, and belonging. And number 7, I was kind of happy to see this here, number 7 was arts and culture. So I'm really happy to see people, valuing the arts and culture in our communities. And it goes on down the list. We talked about different types of abuse, and people, there are a number of people here that are, assisting people who have been victims of abuse. And then number 9, which I think is a very important one myself, is technology. Okay, technology, do we have it? Can we use it? Who's missing? How do we get everybody using it effectively? Then environment, seniors, youth, and a couple more that only got 1 or 2 votes. But what we're going to do today is we want you guys to get together, pick a topic that you're interested in, okay, that's meaningful to you. And we're going to be looking at some of the results that have come up. I've got a 4-page document that's on each table. And it's, huh?
Try this one.
Okay. Can you hear me? Whoa. All right. So I've got these documents. There's one on each table, and it goes down different categories. As we went over the information that we got back from the summit and the mini summits, we kind of bunched them into categories, larger categories. One is community building and networking. There was a strong, strong desire to make better connections, and that's part of what the Data Hub is about, and NJ211. We were looking for opportunities for collective impact. Okay, I'm sitting here and I have this little nonprofit and I'm providing childcare. Okay, well, who else is providing childcare? What are the things that we all need? And if we get together and work for it, we're going to be able to make some differences. The nonprofit network communications. Everybody's always complaining about communication, and it really is, it's critical for us to be able to communicate with each other, with the people we serve, with our communities, with our legislators and government officials. And then we have capacity building, training, resources, and finally, specific capacity building subjects like technical assistance. Okay, so those are the major categories. So in here too, I have identified some of the suggestions that people have made, and then occasionally in Blueprint is some of the actions that have been taken, since then. And there probably are actions that we're not aware of. So where'd Tyneisha go? Our activity now is, where'd she go? Ty? All right, anyway, I know she's here. We're going to do a issue spotting and solutions mapping session is what we're calling this. And you're going to be given 5 minutes. I'm sorry, you're going to pick your table. The tables have these hot pink cards on them with a topic written on it. Okay, so look around and look for your topic of the ones that I read off earlier. And you probably may not, some tables are going to get real full, but just, find one that works for you. And then you're going to sit there, you've got a topic in front of you. Maybe it's housing, maybe it's education, maybe it's technology. And talk about, look at the sheet with the suggestions, but talk about what you need. Talk about not just, hey, I need a new computer, okay? Talk about what together we might be able to do for the whole sector. Okay, some of these changes that we need to make to really help nonprofits be viable are large-scale solutions. Okay, we need internet access for all. Okay, how many of you know that in December, some legislation was passed to make this, to have a proposal, a plan was passed to begin to implement internet services where there are none. Okay? It's been quietly happening, and there are organizations on this sheet, and we can email this to you with the links and stuff after this meeting. But there's a lot going on that we don't know about. And if we can connect with people that are already working on stuff and initiate where the gaps are, we can make a huge difference. but each one of us working in our own little circle is not going to be able to. Okay, I'm probably way over time. You're going to go to the tables, you're going to pick your topic. We have, you're going to look at the issues around that topic. And do we have forgot about no? Oh, the moderators, right. Okay. Mental health and substance abuse? Okay, all right. There she is, okay. Right, okay. So at each table, we need one person to to offer to be the recorder and to report back to us. Now, when I say report back, I mean like 1.5 minutes, okay? Very, very short, but just here's what we did. We're going to be gathering all this information and we'll be disseminating it. Then we're going to select, after we discuss some of those ideas, we're going to select 3 issues. And or less, okay, whatever. Don't try to do 15. And then we've got 20 minutes to do that. I'm sorry, you're going to select the issues just after the 20 minutes. And then we have solution mapping round, which is, okay, what are the proposals? What are some of the ideas? And again, think high level, okay? If the state of New Jersey did X, if we had $10 million, why? What are the things that need to happen? And then we'll report out. Go ahead. I want to introduce Tyneisha here. Tyneisha Gibbs.
Thank you. Is there anything that we can clarify for you? Because I know you might have some questions, okay? So I'm seeing some nodding heads. All right, so basically we're going to be participating in an issue spotting and solutions mapping exercise. So as Debbie explained, your first 20 minutes, high level, talking about what are the issues within your issue. Your issue is already on your table, okay? And that came from the list of 53. After you spend your 20 minutes figuring out what are the main issues within your issue, we want you to select your top 3. Just circle it, that's fine. Those are the 3 that you're going to focus on. Take 5 minutes to do that. The instructions are also on each table. The next 20 minutes, you're going to solution map. Like Debbie said, high-level ideas. What can you do to solve this specific issue within your issue? Any questions? No? Select someone from your group, from your table, to be a recorder, a timekeeper, and someone to be a group speaker. You will have 60 seconds to report out at the end. We will table this and share at a later date, okay? Can I clarify anything for you? Yes. Yes.
We don't have much time, so we're going to focus.
And this is a first step, as the nonprofit Center of South Jersey has said. There will be other opportunities for you to participate in more conversations like these at a mini summit.
Okay. We will be following up with some, reports and some Zoom sessions to...
Your instructions for right now, please take your seat. We are going to have the groups report out. And I want to emphasize that the work that you all have put in here, I know it was intense. I know you had me screaming at you and things, but listen, we are going to continue these conversations, and they will be targeted, specific conversations, some virtual, some in person, depending on which topic, and the conversation will continue. Okay, so this is not the end. You will receive information from the center on additional opportunities to further these conversations. So if there was a topic that you did not get a chance to lend your expertise to, do not fret. All right, all my speakers in the front, please bring your papers. You are going to have 60 seconds, 60 seconds. Let's not be long-winded. You will have 60 seconds to share out what your group did. You don't have to say everything. Remember, land the plane. What's most important? And we're going to start with this lovely lady here first, Miss Francine. Miss Francine, when you're done, I want you to popcorn somebody you know. Just hand them the mic.
So bear with me, I'm reading on literal chicken scratch. It's my chicken scratch, that's why I'm up here. My subject, or our subject matter was health, and we narrowed it down to 3 problems. One of them, the main, is inclusivity. There's a lack of quality health professionals, lack of staff. Sometimes the health professionals don't have enough patients, or their reimbursement from Medicare is not as much as they would make from a private practice, so they choose to leave for higher pay. There is a lack of community opportunity or access to quality health care, a lack of mental health care available to the patients, and the patient to the health care or physician ratio count is too high. The doctors cannot often spend time for holistic care. Usually it's a 5-minute, here's what you need to do, and push them out the door and get to the next patient. The second problem that we came up with is insurance needs. Many patients are underinsured or have no insurance at all, or they have financial problems. And a lot of times that financial problem leads to them waiting on reimbursement through Medicaid. And if it's a routine healthcare issue, sometimes it can become a serious issue because they're waiting too long to get reimbursed through Medicaid. And just the lack of access to quality healthcare.
The cameraman asks everyone gets on the stage, so if you're a speaker, please get on the stage.
And our third issue was health literacy. A lot of time patients need help with how to navigate medical treatments. There's language barriers. Some immigrants may not know where to start. There's often a lack of understanding, which leads to fear. There's use of medical jargons that people in the healthcare industry may be familiar with, but patients don't. And sometimes technical terms lead to comprehension barriers.
All right, thank you, Ms. Francine. We're gonna have to get to solutions later. We'll put it in the
Okay.
All right. I've done great, thanks. Come on out. I like this, I get it. Okay, so our 3, the first one that we came up with is that each county is very diverse. The needs of one county don't necessarily match the needs of all the other counties. So what our plan was is that we would potentially develop regional plans and then have events where we had shared like organizations who are all able then to work together, because you're not necessarily going to take something from Burlington County if you're in Salem County. The second issue is transportation. Most of our table talked about the need for transportation, the ability to get people to programs, or to meet people where they're at. I don't have a fix for that, I gotta tell you. The only thing that we really did talk about was busing and shared services, potentially with school districts or other organizations. We do know there's a shortage of bus drivers at this point, so we're either have to train ones that are just going to be for us, or we're going to have to find more. That's going to need to be subsidized, and it's definitely going to need to be a collaborative effort so that everyone gets what they need. And the last is staffing, and it's staffing/skill set. There is a program.
Our group had DEIB, and what we came up with is the issue in the courts that if you have a comprehension need, you have to bring your own support. So that all the courts should have whatever somebody needs, whether it's sign language, whether it's translation, whether it's understanding what's going to happen. Another thing is that DEIB initiatives move from conversation to action. We have so much conversation, we have so much intellectual agreement, but not enough actions, not enough plans. Accountability is the key, and that it be a business strategy, that it should start from the top. It shouldn't be peppered, it should start from the top, and it should be vastly inclusive to include disability, LGBTQ, women, cultural diversity, color diversity, country of origin diversity, that it should really be program services and mindset. Take care of the principals at the director's level, take care of the board of directors, have to support it in order for it to be real. So it's got to start from the top. It's got to be required. We have to make it live forever.
Thank you.
I normally don't need this, but our subject was arts and culture. Okay. I hate it. I'm a theater guy. We don't stand behind podiums. Sorry. Our three issues were the impact of youth and the availability of youth to arts and culture activities, educating funders on the importance of the arts and culture on students and others, and whether the data is quantitative versus qualitative enough to show that salaries need to be as high in the arts for staff members as they are in the private sector. So our solutions were to just express the ideas that sports are great. Believe me, I love sports, but the arts are just as important for kids, and not everyone can be an athlete. Funders need to know the economic development driver capacities of the arts and how many tickets we sell, and people coming into our towns will go spend money in restaurants and shop on our main street if we have vibrant arts. Thank you.
Well, Evan, we did technology, so the good part is we're the solution for a lot of the problems we've already heard about today. You're talking about transportation, you're talking microtransit programs, and so forth. But since I'm on a limited time, one of the things we always talked about with transportation, and we asked ChatGPT, so we're talking about technology, why not use the solution? Providing technology and internet access across services is critical to fostering digital inclusion and equitable opportunities. The requirements require investments in infrastructure such as expanding broadband services, promoting affordability, and offering digital literacy programs to ensure everyone can have access.
Okay, here we go. Our group focused on a topic of concern, I believe second to none in our state and our country. That's mental health and substance use. When I say substance use, I'm talking about people who have diagnosable substance use disorders. Let's not gel over the fact that people with substance use disorders have a medical diagnosis. So in our group, we categorize the overarching three problems as workforce. A workforce that needs to include more peer recovery support specialists. That's a particular concern. However, a concern when it comes to prescribers, licensed professionals, paraprofessionals. Our second concern is stigma. We know that stigma prevents so many families, so many individuals, communities from seeking out and reaching help. The third concern, our overarching concern, we categorize as social determinants of health: housing, employment, healthcare. Very often people with substance use disorders do not have those needs met in their life. And so to be an effective provider, you need to focus on the social determinants of health. Solutions, education, training, development, and funding. We need funding.
Okay, our group had seniors or older adults. Our three issues were isolation, connecting them to senior services, and transportation. So some of the short-term solutions we came up with were buddy programs, senior activities that are at local community organizations, a South Jersey nonprofit senior hub, a place where people who provide services for seniors can meet and brainstorm.
Pie in the Sky, a senior fair for seniors to attend and learn and sign up for services. All get gram pads, something they can, technology, and teach them how to use it. And transportation, which I think is a huge issue for seniors and others. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Melissa, and I was in the environmental group. So our three main focuses are environmental education and justice, water quality, and waste reduction. We're hoping to accomplish these by more science and less politics in our environmental education. We're also hoping for more adult classes for environmental learning. Adults still need to learn everything about the environment just as much as the next generation. Then we're also looking into summer enrichment courses, hopefully hooked up with museums. I worked with Nick from the Edelman Foundation at Rowan, so I'm sure you guys know about that. Water quality, we're looking for beach cleanups, statewide cleanups, and more water testing. Waste reduction, we're looking for to take care of agricultural waste, more composting in neighborhoods and local municipalities and wherever someone can have a compost bin. And state recycling programs, thank you.
Hi everybody, my group did abuse, which was domestic violence, sexual abuse and bullying. Our three issues that we looked at were safety, mental health, but we already covered mental health, so I'm going to throw in housing, because that's my #1 issue that I have, and policy changes. Safety, as you know, most people that are being bullied or abused, they don't know where to go, so we need more housing, and that's going to go right into housing. We need more safe houses and shelters, which goes into funding. Community outreach, going out and letting people know that this is an issue. It's not just quiet in the shadows. It is as much as an issue as substance abuse and mental health, that people being abused and not being able to talk about it. Resources, community, family advocates. There's also like safety, like resources such as Safe Way Out that can go out and go do safety alarms in your house and stuff. So we should support these programs and nonprofits as well. Family advocates to go out to the homes and walk alongside with their clients so they don't feel like they're alone and they're illegal. So a lot of times they're afraid to go to the police departments, they're afraid to go to the courts. Policy changes need to happen. Funding.
Sorry, I'm 4'11". Podiums are not my friend. I'll try and be respectful. So we have animal welfare as our issue. The top 3 things that we have listed for animal welfare. #1 is the constant flow of animals coming into shelters and rescue organizations. It is March. Reach out to your friends in animal welfare because kitten season just started and we're all buried already. #2 is sharing and finding resources, not only amongst ourselves, but amongst our clients. And that includes transportation, so amen to everybody who has said transportation already. #3 is the cost of services. Food, veterinary costs, particularly when you talk about many of the other issues that everybody else in the room is talking about. Pets fall really low and the costs are skyrocketing. So some of the solutions for the constant flow of animals, there are ordinances and legislation currently in the state of New Jersey that would help us by reducing stray holds and creating TNR programs. Okay, there we go.
Our group had faith-based initiatives. Our top 3 problems: we need money, funding, sustainable funding, funding growth to match the needs that are coming in on the way, looking at my cell phone, and how to level the playing field. Faith-based initiatives. The Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, we had somebody out of nonprofit to give back the money because it was too hard to track. What are some of our solutions? Let's look at the nonprofit company that's here today sponsoring this event. We need help writing the grants, help executing the grants, help by ourselves, more help, and because we are faith-based, we have the power to what we speak. Power of life and death is in our, we got power on
group, it's interesting because our group, I'm going to try to keep this short, I feel so much pressure. So our group had all kind of different, we had continuum of care, our group was housing, and we had transitional housing, we also had permanent housing like Habitat for Humanity. And really I think the three themes that kept kind of coming up was inventory of affordable housing. We just don't have an inventory anymore. That's whether you're purchasing or whether you're renting. There's a lack of inventory. Everyone in this room knows that there's a lack of affordability. I was actually talking to someone from HopeWorks Camden before we got in our session. Before we got in our session, I was like, God, that went fast. Before we got in our session, she was like, yeah, I have people coming to me that are making like $50,000 a year, and they're like, I can't wait to buy a house. And we looked at each other like, well, that's not going to get you a whole lot. And then accessibility, so not just accessible homes, right, for people who need accessibility modifications, accessibility of the actual information that's out there. How do these housing programs work? And then that's all. That was it? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so ours was financial literacy. We had 6 bullets, but our 3 primary areas: education, trusting community leaders, and mental health or disabilities. Needs for that. Programmatic need, there's obviously programmatic needs, funding and staffing. Needs for financial literacy curriculum implemented starting at elementary levels. Community members, trusting community leaders and banks. Programs need to be implemented to prove otherwise. And also, programs to assist individuals suffering from disabilities and mental health issues. There has to be a financial literacy program that they can follow, that is understanding to them. So those are the things that we targeted.
Hello everyone. Our group was youth, and of course we came up with about 1,000 bullets that we could talk about. But we took the pie in the sky approach and worked with $10 million. So what we would like to do is stabilize the youth. And for that, we would want to get them housing, so maybe looking at some vacant buildings to rehab, working with the Habitat for Humanity, and work with the Chamber of Commerce to remove some of that red tape that would allow us to access that. Programming, workforce development, life skills, career and education exposure, professional development, and personal development. And then also, of course, mental health ongoing at no cost, access to it virtually in physical centers for support, nonprofit and for-profit collaboration, technology to bolster access to resources using social media and supportive services, and also diversifying access to opportunities statewide, regional-wide. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy. Not in the food business, so I was a scribe. So our top needs were expansion and capacity building to keep up with the growing demand for food. Under that, we talked about capacity building, local government advocacy, looking for free space. We also talked about other resources, including building connections, volunteers, cooking classes, education, more conferences, more idea sharing, and highlighting what works and what doesn't work. But their number one thing, funding. So we talked about advocacy, policy, legislative connections, how to build them, how to partner with corporations, interdisciplinary partnerships to better serve consumers, flexible and unrestricted funding, advocacy with foundations and companies, and equipping staff to submit successful grant proposals. So those were their solutions. Top one, funding. We'll talk more about that later, I think.
We had sports, and it turns out that all 3 of us at the table were working to find ways to provide adaptive sports and social activities for people with special needs. So our action items are working to find volunteers, coaches, interns who might help, and also to go through the state agencies, DDD, DCF, rec departments, maybe contacting Rowan and other educational institutions to find people who needed internships, and then looking to high schools maybe where there would be volunteers or coaches who could help with that. So, thank you.